So
them.
Don, you love censorship, is what you're saying.
No, I don't love censorship.
Then why are you asking?
I believe in moderation, but I don't believe in
censorship. Moderation is a propaganda word for censorship.
Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friends, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants and Satan, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. Dying CNN fires Don Lemon because he's bad for business. Now, that is impressive for Don Lemon. Then Don Lemon, he's going to launch his own show. He's got a deal with Twitter to distribute it, I believe, for the first 24 hours exclusively. For his first episode, Don Lemon interviews Elon Musk, and Elon then cancels his contract with Twitter, fires him from Twitter. Why? Because he sucked. Give you all the details. Also show you some shocking clips from their interview where I don't think Don Lemon could have looked dumber, and I don't think Elon could have looked smarter when it comes to them discussing issues that you and I care about. Before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know I would never do any shameless self-promotion. However, if I were to, I would let you know we've just done a massive upgrade to the merch line in terms of using better fabrics that feel better, they fit better. We have up-level customer service, a team full of freedom lovers there to help you if you need anything, faster shipping times, all that good stuff, new designs as well. So you can check out all the new upgraded merch at awakewithjp.com. Elon's response after, Twitter fires Don Lemon, and Don Lemon's like, you guys are supposed to be free speech, but you're silencing me. They're like, no, we're not. Elon's response on why you fired Don Lemon was, Don was underwhelming, unprepared, and dull. True. I would dare say not even just that, but I would say he seemingly was acting deliberately stupid. At one point, Elon says CNN is left and Fox News is right. Don Lemon couldn't even agree on that. No, really? I don't think so, Elon. That's right. Elon specifically said his approach was basically just CNN, but on social media, which doesn't work, as evidenced by the fact that CNN is dying. Fact check true. And Elon goes on to say, and instead of it being the real Don Lemon, it was really just Jeff Zucker talking through Don. So lacked authenticity. All this said, Lemon Zucker are, of course, welcome to build their viewership on this platform along with everyone else. Cool. Now, let's take a look at some riveting clips of Don Lemon interviewing Elon about issues you and I care about.
Let's talk about trans rights and the woke mind virus, because you talk about that a lot. You're right about that a lot on the thing. You have been deeply outspoken about the issue of trans rights. You posted trans rights. You posted that pronouns and bio mean the woke mind virus ate your brain. Do you know what the term woke actually means?
It's come to mean a lot of things.
But what originally it was meant.
I like Don is trying to take the meaning that the word woke has derived and the truth, therefore, that meaning points to. He's trying to eliminate that. Like, oh, the original definition of woke, yeah, it means you freaking woke up, Don. So it's like, let's pretend all that it's come to signify. Let's pretend that's not a reality.
It's just being aware of inequities in society and being aware of facts and history.
Yeah, I think being aware of inequities in society is fine, of course. But trying to make everything a race issue is, I think, divisive and corrosive to society.
Even as it relates to trans issues, which is what I
like that. Don's like, wait a minute, making everything about a race issue is corrosive to society? Wait a minute. Let me push back on that. I want corrosiveness in society. Now let's just bring up trans, pretending that's a race issue.
Yeah, race or, gender or whatever.
You think that society blames everything on racism now?
It blames a lot of things on it, and yeah.
You think that's unfair?
Yeah.
Why?
I think we should not make this a constant subject. I think we need to move on.
Now, I think when there's a race issue, we should blame those on race issues. But things that aren't race issues probably shouldn't be blamed on race issues, because doing so kind of means we're misled.
I think we just, treat people like people.
No, treat people like people. Don Lemon doesn't stand for that, Elon. No. Don Lemon has a little meltdown when they get into DEI, and I believe he's going to start this clip talking about Elon response to doors blowing off airlines, because airlines are no longer concentrating on safety, they're concentrating on DEI.
So after the door blew off, this mid-flight in this Alaskan Airlines flight. Do you remember that? You responded to a post claiming that the average HBCU grad was less intelligent than the average airline pilot, and stated that it will take an airplane crashing and killing hundreds of people for them to change this crazy policy of DIE. I don't know if did you misspell it on purpose, which it should be DEI. Do you believe that women and minority pilots are inherently less intelligent and less skilled than white male pilots?
No, I'm just saying that we should not lower the standards for them.
Okay. But there's no evidence that standards are being lowered when it comes to the airline industry.
You've repeatedly said that there's no evidence that standards are being lowered, and watch the replies showing all the evidence that it is.
Replies, though, on social media or on Twitter are not necessarily fact and evidence.
No,
that's people's
opinion. They will cite in the replies to this, you will see how often the information is cited showing that indeed there are significant cases where standards are lowered.
And I do hope that happens. I do hope that happens, and I look forward to it. And as you said, if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm glad we're having it.
Don is great. By the way, I'm not very smart. If I was talking to Don Lemon, I would be so frustrated. It's like trying to have a conversation with like a doorknob. I can't imagine what it's like for Elon. I'm sure the guy's 10 times smarter than me. I don't know if Don Lemon is truly this dumb or the role of a useful idiot. He just has to play this dumb.
This conversation debate. This is what we should be doing, debating the issue. So
right.
If I'm wrong,
Don is not debating. He's just being an idiot.
Then I'm wrong, and then I'll be proven in the thing, and you as well. But I just want to tell you that pilot that you talked about, in fact, was a woman pilot, landed the plane safely, despite the major malfunction with the equipment. Boeing has taken responsibility for that incident, saying that it was caused by a faulty door panel. So I'm not sure.
Boeing has some DEI initiatives, so I think Elon's point is true here, buddy.
What that had to do with lowering the standards for pilots when it was a faulty.
No, it's not lowering standards for pilots. It's the incentive structure, I believe, at Boeing changed to include DEI as a fundamental executive incentive. So, in my view, it should be purely about passenger safety.
Okay, but do you understand how by saying just that standards are being lowered, that you're implying that they're being lowered because people are less skilled and less intelligent, and you're talking about people of color and or women?
Look, I'm saying we should not lower standards.
But you don't?
That's it.
I think everyone can agree that you shouldn't lower standards.
Right.
But you're implying that they're lowering standards
DEI is lowering standards
because of people of color or women, because someone is not a white male. You're saying that they're less skilled and less intelligent. That's what
I think he's saying anyone who is less skilled, whether they're white, black, multi-gendered, but someone who is hired because they're multi-gendered, they can be hired because they're multi-gendered and they have less skill than a better skilled person. Don, so frustrating. Dude, I want to fire Don from something right now. And in the prevalent topic of illegal immigration that's now somehow become legal in our country, let's see how Don works really hard to not understand logic on this topic.
Talk about the great replacement theory now. Some of the things that you post, the great replacement theory. You claim that Democrats, President Biden's immigration plan to open up the border, you said that the president is getting, and Democrats are doing it to get more votes. But undocumented immigrants cannot vote in federal elections. So how is that possible?
No voter ID. Think about that. You also say that, Don.
Right. Well, you're conflating two things. One is great replacement theory. The other is I don't subscribe to that. I'm simply saying that there is an incentive here if legal immigrants wish, I think, have a very strong bias to at least everything I've read. It's a very strong bias to vote Democrat. The more that come into the country, the more they're likely to vote in that direction. But it is, in my view, a simple incentive to increase voters to Democrat voters.
By the way, that's common consensus amongst the awake, not woke.
Yeah. So the question is like how? So there's a few ways that this works. One is that when the census is done, the census is based on all people in an area, whether they are citizens or not. So if there are a concentration of people who came here illegally in a particular state, that state will actually then get an increased number of House seats. So the House seat apportionment is proportionate to the number of people, not the number of citizens. So the illegals...
So even if the illegals aren't voting, they can increase the number of House seats in that district and therefore potentially get them voted blue. That's interesting. I guarantee Don Lemon didn't know that.
Overwhelmingly go to places like California and New York. If you just look at the math, if you look at the apportionment with and without illegals, I believe the blue state, there would be a net loss of blue states of approximately 20 seats in the House.
Right now, Don's pooping himself, thinking like, damn it, I forgot I'm talking to the smartest guy in the world. He's not supposed to say smart things. He's supposed to be emotionally reactive like me. It's almost like this isn't CNN.
Also applies to the Electoral College. So you say, like, well, this also applies to electing the president. The electoral votes are also done via apportionment the same way that House seats are done.
But the reason, Elon, the Electoral College is...
He just starts the sentence off with but. But I'm not going to acknowledge anything you said. Here's something completely different that is not based in reality.
Place is to balance that so that doesn't happen. So what you're saying about it is the exact opposite of the reason why the Electoral College is there. The Electoral College at this point in our history gives people who are in smaller states and red states much more of an influence over our elections than people.
Nope. Electoral College is not designed to give people in red states more influence over the election. Like, yeah, let's form the Electoral College to give conservatives an unfair advantage. I'm sure I'm wrong. Don said it. That's got to be true.
People who are in blue states and the majority of the people in this country. That's what the Electoral College does. It actually does the exact opposite of what you're saying. It protects people who are in smaller states and protects people who are in red states. The red states, because they tend to be smaller and less populous.
I think that statement is what you said is true, but what I said is also true, which is that if, as is the case, a disproportionate number of legal immigrants go to blue states, they amplify the effect of a blue state vote. And the math, as I understand it, you can research this obviously very easily on there. It's like pretty straightforward to research this. But my understanding is that the Democrats would lose approximately 20 seats in the House if illegals were not counted in the census.
Don's going to work really hard to not acknowledge that again.
And that's also 20 less electoral votes for president. So the illegals absolutely do affect who controls the House and who controls the presidency. It does not affect the Senate.
In blue states, you're talking about. I
Yes.
don't believe that your information on...
Don, you don't believe anything. It's great. In the next clip, we'll see how Elon responds to Don Lemon trying to suggest Twitter is just a right-wing platform and a mega conspiracy land.
Do you agree that it's right now and that even it's moved into sort of MAGA land?
No, I don't.
Theory?
I certainly don't think it's right. The old school Twitter suspended and suppressed accounts that you'd call on the right 10 times more than they did accounts on the left. And even when they did suspend an account on the left, it was because of arguments between two people on the left. The political donations of old Twitter were 99% Democrat. Does that sound left-wing or right-wing to you?
The Twitter donations?
Yes. You know, when they look at donations back from a company, if a company donates literally 99% of all donations are to Democrats, does that strike you as a left-leaning or a right-leaning
Oh, you mean the company donated? I understand what you're saying.
What I'm trying to tell you is that
Don needed that question clarified 2 times and still hasn't even freaking landed on the simple. Old Twitter had 99% of their political donations to the left. Don's like, oh, so what you're saying, what? Say that again, Elon?
Twitter employees, people at Twitter, their political donations were 99%, literally 99% to Democrats. That's obviously an extremely left-leaning group.
Do you agree that it's right now?
Don's probably, oh, no, it's not really left-leaning until it's 100%. And that's not even close to 100%. And lastly, let's end at a rather entertaining news flash where Don Lemon apparently didn't understand that CNN is on the left and Fox is on the right.
You reached out over the summer and you said, it would be great to have Maddow, Don Lemon, others on the left put on this platform. You received full support. The digital town square is for all. What do you mean by that?
Well, I just mean that we want to make sure that there are a wide variety of viewpoints. You know, we always have, for example, Tucker Carlson, who most people will view as being on the right. You know, that's quite a prominent name on the right. We want to have prominent names on the left as well to provide different points of view, as well as centrists. Just basically a wide range of viewpoints on the platform, so users can hear different opinions. You know, what's your point of view? What's Tucker's point of view? People can make their own decision about what they...
I like people making their own decisions. That's pretty good. Don, is that dangerous? It's pretty dangerous.
You didn't mean that I'm on the left? Did you think
I
that?
thought you were on the left, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm used... Well, let's just say, I don't know what the left is or the right is, frankly, these days, because things can be quite polarized. My impression was that you're be more likely to be described as
Elon, he's on the left, buddy.
on the left than the right. And my sense is you're sort of center left. I don't know. You tell me.
Far left?
Well, did you ever watch me on CNN or did you watch?
I saw
Yeah.
I saw segments.
Yeah.
I mean, CNN is generally considered left.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
What the hell? That's like a 2-year-old saying don't play in traffic. Why? So you don't get hit by a car. Why? Why would you say CNN is on the left? Because we've seen it, Don.
Why do I say CNN is generally considered left? I think if you look at any sort of media survey of what is on the left or right, I think they would say, like, for example, Fox is on the right and CNN is on the left.
Yeah. So that's what is it.
Am I missing something here?
Okay. Are you missing something?
By the way, watch again. There's so many times Don does this like pompous thing where he's saying something slightly contrarian, discounting to Elon while looking down. This is just one of the many examples.
And CNN is on the left.
Yeah. So that's what is it.
Am I missing something?
It's like he's treating Elon like he's stupid. So that's what you think. And he's looking down. So he's basically body language, trying to cut off the conversation, playing this stupid trump card that is not a trump card, but he's stupid for thinking it's a trump card. Like, well, that's what you think. Suggesting what you think is wrong, what I think is right, because I'm questioning what you're thinking. What's the response to this interview? Don Lemon, you're fired. Bring back Trump. I wish Elon would have hired Trump to make this call public video on Twitter. Don Lemon, you're fired. And after I watched even just a minute of this, I understood a show of this caliber is not worth paying for. I love free speech. I want Don Lemon to make his stupid stuff. I'm not going to spend my time watching it, but I think it's important to have points of view out there covering the full spectrum from stupidity to intelligence. I mean, that's diversity. It's inclusive to all. We need to be inclusive to Don Lemon. Let people listen to it if they want and form their own conclusions. However, I very much agree with Twitter and Elon on this. Cancel the contract. That is not worth paying for. It's not valuable. Much like if, a dude down the street from me says, hey, I'm going to start a Twitter show. Cool, go ahead and start it. What's it about? I don't know. I'm going to figure out as I go. I have 3 followers. Cool. Twitter would want that on their platform, but they're not going to pay you for it because they don't see it as valuable. This is capitalism. It is not communism. You don't get paid for providing zero value. Don Lemon, you provided zero value to CNN. In fact, you provided value to many, many free-thinking Americans that want to see CNN burn down. You provided value in that you helped them burn down through your presence and your contributions. I see zero value in Don Lemon's show, aside from these clips, because they were entertaining. They were a little bit enraging. That is the take on why Don Lemon got fired from Twitter. Well-deserved, I might add. My freedom-loving friend, I look forward to seeing you on our next video. But first, here's a special message not brought to you by Don Lemon. I don't know about you, but one thing I love is infrared saunas. But 3 things I hate about infrared saunas is they can be expensive, they take up a lot of space in your house, and you can't carry them. That's why I love my Bond Charge infrared sauna blanket. It's one of the most cost-effective, powerful, yet portable infrared sauna systems on the market, and it doesn't clutter up my house. Bond Charge is my favorite holistic wellness brand with many evidence-based products to help you optimize your life in every way. And the infrared sauna blanket is one of my favorites. Personally, I work hard, I work out hard, I live like an idiot half the time, and at times life is just hard, so I need all the recovery I can get. Before I was using the infrared sauna blanket, I was finding I was becoming more and more sluggish, my energy progressively getting lower. I could tell I needed to recover from all that life was throwing at me and all that I was diving into. But that all changed for me once I got my body into this bad boy and started using it regularly. There's plenty of research that shows using infrared saunas helps you recover from exercise, sleep better, de-stress, promotes relaxation, and it's great for detox. If you want to up-level your life with the infrared sauna blanket, just go to bondcharge.com/JPReacts. And while you're there, use the discount code JPReacts for 15% off all Bond Charge products. Enjoy.